Amen. So good morning, class.
Good morning, ma'am.
So how was your day?
Good.
Miss Secretary, may I know who are the absent for today?
Ma'am, the absent today are Teo Bacolio and Emildia Ubaldi, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Miss Secretary. So class, are you all ready for our lesson?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So who among you here have farms? So what plants are planted in your farms?
Corn.
Rice.
Have you tried harvesting your own planted crops?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. So I have flashcards here. These are pictures. So these are the procedures after harvesting your own planted crops. So I want one volunteer to paste these pictures in the space provided and identify the steps you perform in your harvested crops. So any volunteer? Okay, Max Jikel, please paste these pictures. So are you sure? Okay. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Max Jigel. So all of your answers are correct because we have different kinds of crops. We have the grain crops, which includes the rice and corn. We also have the perishable ones, which includes the fruits and the vegetables. So every crop requires different steps in harvesting to lengthen the shelf life of that specific commodity. Okay, so is everything clear, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Today, our topic is all about post-harvest operations or handling. So our objectives is, at the end of the discussion, you students should be able to first, define the post-harvest handling. Second is, identify the various steps in post-harvest handling. And lastly is, observe the proper post-handling to minimize the losses. So when you hear the word post-harvest handling, what comes in your mind? Any idea? Okay, Daphne?
Post-harvest handling is the stage of crop production immediately following harvest.
Okay, thank you, Daphne. So class, please listen attentively because after the discussion, we will have our short quiz. So now, I will be showing a video presentation about basic post-harvest handling in some different crops. So please, eyes on the screen.
Hi, I'm Dr. Penelope Perkins Veazey. I'm a post-harvest physiologist with North Carolina State University and the Plants for Human Health Institute. I'm working with the University of Tennessee on a USDA OREI project. Post-harvest covers the aspects of when a produce is picked in the field to the time it gets to the consumer. There are many practices involved in post-harvest, but there are some that are common to all types of produce. First, you have to harvest at the desired maturity and quality. Your market may determine this, such as size of squash or cucumber, or it may be obvious, like picking berries with close to full color and no injury. Field workers need to be trained to determine what is wanted, such as firmness, size, and color. Right after harvest, field heat that is in produce has to be removed or reduced quickly to slow respiration and moisture loss and to extend the shelf life. If a packing shed is not closed, consider using a refrigerated truck or trailer. North Carolina State designed the Pack and Cool trailer for this, using a CoolBot and a house AC unit for small loads. These plans are available online. Cleaning of produce is the third step. This is not done for soft berries, but is common for most fruits and vegetables. Produce is brought to the pack shed and washed using a combination of a dump tank and spray bar. A sanitizer is added during the process to facilitate soil removal and to slow down microbial pathogens and prevent cross-contamination. While chlorine is the most commonly used sanitizer and approved by the National Organic Program, there are alternatives available and research on new sanitizers is ongoing. The final overreaching post-harvest step is maintaining the cold chain, where cool to cold temperatures are kept at every step from harvest to sale for most produce. Refrigeration is still the key to quality and shelf life of fresh produce. In summary, there are common practices that apply to all post-harvest produce. The first one is to make sure that your uniformity and your grade are correct for your market and make sure that your labor is trained to handle this. The second is to remove your field heat as quickly as possible from your produce, and then to make sure that it is clean using the proper sanitizers. And finally, to make sure that the cold chain is maintained from the time it's harvested to the time it gets to the consumer.
So how was the video presentation, class? Have you learned something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So now we will start our lesson. So post-harvest handling is the specific term used for the movement of the commodities and operations through which the commodity undergoes from harvest to position to the fixed consumer. So this includes the technological aspects of marketing and distribution, and different crops undergo different steps on post-harvest. So why are post-harvest practices done? May I request Daphne to please read what's on the screen?
Why are post-harvest practices done? Vegetables or fruits are living tissues that undergo continuous after harvest. 2. Rapid deterioration can occur. 3. Can affect quality of vegetables or fruits, freshness and nutritional. 4. Safety of the vegetable or fruits, pesticide residues, microbiological organisms.
Okay, so thank you, Daphne. So post-harvest practices done because it will affect the quality of our commodities from the freshness and nutritional, and also for the safety of our commodities from the pest residues and the microbiological organism. So class, these are the procedures in post-harvest. So post-harvest procedures. So first, we have the harvesting. Next to that is the reception. Next is the pre-cooling. Next is the selection, cleaning, and the disinfection. Next to that is the drying. After is the grading. Next is the other treatment, packaging, storage, and lastly is the transport. So what is reception? So reception, it's either to the packing house or to the shaded place which is not exposed directly to the sun. So reception also is the preparatory steps for storage to market is done. So next is the pre-cooling. So any idea what is pre-cooling? Okay, Max Jikel?
Pre-cooling is the removal of the harvested produce from the field so that it will not expose to direct sunlight or high temperature.
Yes, that's right. So pre-cooling refers to the rapid removal of field heat shortly after the harvest of a crop. So field heat can be defined as the difference in temperature between the temperature of the crop harvested and the optimal storage temperature of that product. So in general, the temperature should be cooled down till it reaches 88% of the existing differences in temperature and its optimal storage temperature. So class, field heat should be removed as fast as possible since for most procedures, an hour delay at field for the condition of 35 precious will lead to a loss of shelf life. So next is the selection, cleaning, and the disinfection. So it means, class, that in the stage of the commodity, selection or sorting is the process of classifying into the groups designated by the person classifying the crops or the commodities that produce either according to set criteria. So sorting should be done by hand to see what is really not suitable for market. So next to sorting is the cleaning. So before the commodity are marketed, various amounts of cleaning are necessary, which typically involves the removal of soil dust, adhering debris, insects, and pest residue. But we just don't need to clean it. We need to make sure that we use clean water in washing our commodity. So there are several types of cleaning. So may I request Mary Joy to read what's on the screen?
There are several types of cleaning. 1. Washing, dunking, spraying, whipping. 2. Drying, brushing, no water, just brush. 3. Don't wash, washing extra handling can cause damage, decreasing quality, and because washing is not enough, disinfection needed to apply to community.
Okay, so there are several types of cleaning. So first is washing, which includes the dunking, spraying, and wiping. The second one is dry brushing, so no water, just brush. The third one is don't wash. So washing or extra handling can cause damage. So it decreases the quality, and because washing is not enough, disinfection needed to apply to the commodity. So in disinfection, chlorine in fresh water is often used to disinfect, to wash our commodity. So next is drying. So drying to the excess moisture caused by washing will be removed, then grading will be the next step. So after drying, we have the grading. So it is the process of classifying into the groups to accept recognized criteria of quality and size. So each group bearing an acceptable name and size grouping. So next is other treatment. So then some of the commodities undergo other treatments like curing and waxing. So not all commodities are undergo other treatments. So we have one example of a crop that undergo curing. So we have onion. So any idea why onion undergo curing? Okay, Max Jekyll.
So that the necks at the top of the bulb come together to seal out moisture and microorganisms, ma'am.
Yes, that's right. Curing decreases the incidence of microt and also reduces the water loss during storage and the microbial infection. So thank you, Max Jekyll. Next is the packaging. So it is the process to ensure adequate protection and safe delivery of the product from the ultimate consumer. So it is the act of putting your commodities in a container or in a plastic. So it is depend on what packaging you will use. So class, I will ask you, paying attention at a grocery store and a farmer's market on how produce is displayed. What looks good to you? Okay, Daphne?
At the grocery, ma'am, since it was packed properly compared to the farmer's market that was displayed directly without packaging.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Daphne. Did you know that if our commodity is directly exposed or displayed, it is subject to pathogen and microorganism that can contribute to the deterioration of our produce. So it means, class, that it will affect our farmers' income. Right, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next is the storage. So it is the process of keeping crops in structure designed to protect to stored products from inclement weather, and pests for a short or longer period of time to await processing or transport to other locations. So in the case of fruits and vegetables, it should be stored in a specific temperature since it's perishable crops and have a short shelf life compared to the grain crops. So last is the transport. So during this step, we need to consider on how it is transported. So is the vehicle clean and cool? So we need to see if that we should not load our commodity with a very warm vehicle because it will affect the shelf life of our commodity. So is everything clear, class?
Yes, ma'am.
So now, I will divide you into 3 groups. Then answer the following questions in 5 minutes. Okay, you may now count 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So now, you will identify the cause of losses at the different points of the system. So for the group 1, during packing. For the group 2, during storage. For the group 3, during transport. Okay? Time start. Okay, class. Time's up. So may I request one representative in each group to please come in front and read your answers. So the first to present is group 1, followed by the group 2, and last is the group 3.
For group 1, during the packing, improper post-harvest handling, delays, physical, large packaging bags, inappropriate packing materials, mechanical, inappropriate technologies, and last is physiological damage. That's all, ma'am.
Group 2, during storage, physiological damage caused by rough handling, bacteria, fungus, insects, rodents, and other environmental factors. That's all, ma'am.
For group 3, during transport, delays cause environmental condition, physical overloading, road condition, mechanical. That's all, ma'am.
Okay. So please back to your seats. So thank you, class. All that you've mentioned was correct. There is a big loss on our produce during that time. So am I understood?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I know you have learned a lot from today's discussion. So anyone who can summarize our lesson? Okay, Daphne?
Post-harvest handling aims to minimize losses at the least possible cost.
Okay. So another volunteer from the group? Okay, Max Jikel?
The existing post-harvest environment requires appropriate technologies to maintain quality of commodities. Poor handling of agricultural commodities can result in quality deterioration and losses.
Okay, very good. So thank you, Max, Jikel, and Daphne. So in addition, post-harvest handling specifically involves in the movement and operations that commodities undergo from harvest to the time immediately before meal preparation. So its main concern is to keep commodities in an acceptable state from harvest until it reaches the consumer, since most commodities are transported in their perishable states. So, is everything clear, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we will have our short quiz. So please get 1/4 sheet of paper and answer the following questions provided on the screen. So I'll give you 10 minutes to answer the question. Okay, you may start now. Okay, class, time is up. Please pass your papers in front. Okay, for your assignment, please research on storage, pests, and diseases. So, write it in a one whole sheet of paper. Okay, so that's all for today. See you all again next meeting. Class dismissed. Goodbye, class.
Bye, ma'am.